Good morning. Hope you're doing well and hope you're wrapping up the end of this 2020 year as best possible and getting ready for 2021. You may notice the surroundings are a little bit different. The audio is different. The video is different. And that's because I'm in a different place. So I'm back in my office in Chicago for the first time since the end of January. COVID caused a lot of things to change. And one of the things that changed was we stopped hubbing in our office here in Chicago. So you may notice behind me the scenery is a little bit different, and in previous videos I've had a lot of questions about what's back there, so I may do a little video later today. It's a bunch of memorabilia that I've purchased through an investment. So there's jerseys and guitars and boxing gloves and football helmets and military paraphernalia, etc. So we'll get to that later. What I wanted to talk about this morning is, there's a lot of words, and I'm a buzzword guy about the buzzword mentor. I love the concept of a mentor. I've had mentors, but when you're looking for direction, a lot of times you'll pull from many different sources. It's not just this one mentor or this, because not everyone can be perfectly well-rounded in how they mentor you, and not everyone should be able to guide you or direct you or speak into your life. So, over the years and through research, what I've determined is there's there's really five types of people. You have acquaintances. These are people who are on the outside who you don't really give the opportunity to speak into your life. So we're not going to focus on those. We're going to focus on the other four, and these are the ones that are close to you. These are the ones that you hear their voice. And I want to divide them into four groups, and we'll do a little bit more in-depth video in the future. But right now, we're just going to hit on the high points because this has been a hot button topic for a lot of people that I've met. So, and it's important that you understand that there's these four classifications, because you got to make sure you put people where they belong. So anyway, the four types are critics, confidants, cheerleaders, and champions. And they're really what they sound like. So if you have a critic, that's someone who seems to be a little bit judgmental, or they always have something to say about everything you're talking about or doing. Now, you don't ever want to remove those people directly from your life or completely from your life. You just can't let them speak directly into your life. If you've got somebody who you know that their goal is to tear you down, then they're destructive. They're not a critic. But it's not always a bad thing to have that opposing point of view, as long as it's balanced in your network of influence and it's balanced in the amount of research you do. So critics have their place, but if you let critics be your champion or you let critics be your cheerleader, then you can already imagine where that may derail. The second one is confidant. So this is a person who they don't give you this just super wise advice. They don't bring a lot of wisdom to you. They listen to you. They're thorough in their listening. They respond only when they have a true response, but they help you to process through things. So very important to have confidants. The next piece, after you've got your critics, after you've got your confidants, is your cheerleaders. These are people that they're very expressive. So they tell you things. They're always open with you. They cheer you along. That's what they are. You got to be careful with confidants and cheerleaders, because sometimes you'll get those confused. And confidants are listeners. Cheerleaders are, I don't want to say hype, but just think the word hype. So if you're giving your confidant if you're giving confidant material to a cheerleader, then they may broadcast that because they're expressive as opposed to listening. So now you have your critics, now you have your cheerleaders, now you have your confidants, and then the last one is your champion. And this one is kind of all of the other three rolled into one. These are people who don't just listen to you. These are people who don't just cheer you on. These are people who don't just help you guide and direct you, but these are people who are going along with you. They're picking you up when you need to be picked up. They're bringing you down when you need to be brought down. They're keeping your eye on the playing field. They're keeping your mind focused on your goals. So very important to have champions, but it's very rare to find a champion. So don't just automatically give people titles of champions. You've got to be very careful that the people you give the title of champion are true champions, as is with all the other ones. You don't want critics being champions or cheerleaders being confidants or confidants being cheerleaders. again, you can understand why. So if you can remember there are four people, that critic, that confidant, that cheerleader, and that champion, and start to look at people in your life today and assign one of those titles to them if they have a direct influence in your life. If you can't put them in one of those buckets, then they're probably not really having an impact on your life, whether you think they are or not. Now, there are some people that have some external forces and things, and we won't get into that right now. We're talking about people you seek out or that are in your influential network that talk to you or speak to your life. So, again, we're going to do a lot more about this. We're actually going to do a full program on this here in the near future. But I wanted to get this out because as we start 2021, one of the big things that we push with all of our clients here at Cannon Clay is to have someone in their network, a mentor, etc. So that's where we are today. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you after the first of the year.